If you're using DaVinci Resolve and you're not taking advantage of these 10 free effects that are built into DaVinci Resolve, you're missing out and you're probably wasting your time. I use these 10 free effects in pretty much every project that I work on. They're quick, they're powerful, and they're already built into DaVinci Resolve. So the best part is they're free because all these are in the free version. I'll have a few bonus effects for you at the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for those. So if you want to level up your videos, you want to save time editing, because who doesn't, and you want it to look more pro, you're going to want to utilize these 10 free effects here in DaVinci Resolve. Let's jump into it. The first free effect that we have here is called blanking fill, and I use this all the time, especially when I'm putting images into videos. But here's how it works. We want to make sure that you guys are looking at the same thing that I am. So come on up to Workspace and then come down to Reset UI Layout, and you should see the same thing that I see. Currently, I'm in the edit page right here. So let's open up our effects. We want to come up to the top right here and click on effects. We can close my media pool because I don't need that open at the moment. I'm going to come down to the open effects section right here and scroll down towards the bottom of this list. And we have right here blanking fill. Now what this does is it fills the screen for us and blurs the background for us. So if we have a photo or a video clip that looks like this that's not taking up the entire screen, we can drag on the blanking fill and it's going to automatically use that same clip or same photo to fill the background for us. So this comes in real handy. I use it all the time when I need to fill out the background like this. Then I can select my clip, open up your inspector, come to the effects section, open effects, and then you can make some adjustments here if you want. You can blend the edges if you want, blur the background some more or less. You can fade it back. And if you start to fade it back, but you want it to be a different color, you can click on the fade color, maybe make that black. If you don't want it as bright, you can fade it back a little bit. The built-in drop shadow on here is great. I usually just crank that up. You can adjust it however you want. If you want to add a little distance in there, change the angle, change the blur amount, it's up to you. You can make it however you want. Now, one tip with this effect is sometimes it crops it in on you. And I'm not sure why it does that, but to fix that, come up to the source menu right here, and you can see it's already got a little crop on it. So I can just open those back up. Now you notice the background does the same thing. So you can either zoom it up a little bit, or you can keep a crop, whatever works best for your particular video clip. And then the fill extend here, you've got a few different ways. You can zoom to the timeline, you can do it manual, stretch it to the timeline. You're gonna have to pick whichever works best for your particular clips. But I love this one, I use it all the time. It's so easy just to drop it on there. You don't have to layer things and do all that. Just drop on blanking fill and you're good to go. This next effect is called lens blur, and I use this all the time whenever I wanna blur a background on a video clip or an image that I might have in my timeline. So again, we're in our effects library right here. We're gonna come to open effects, and right at the top here, we've got lens blur. So in this case, I've got some text and I've got a video clip below, and let's say I wanna blur out that video clip a little bit. I like to use the lens blur to do that. So I'm just gonna click, hold, and drag and drop it down onto the clip. And now you can see it's blurred out, looks pretty good. We can select our clip, come to the effects section of our inspector, and you've got all kinds of options on how you can change it. You can make it the blur size bigger or smaller. You can change the way that that blur looks, change the shapes if you want. You've really got a lot of options here on how you can blur out that background, but I use lens blur all the time for blurring different types of things in my videos. And that leads us into the next effect that I love, I use all the time, I mean all the time, and that is the drop shadow. So you can use drop shadow on a ton of different stuff, but in this case, we've already got some text on our screen, so let's go ahead and add in a drop shadow right to our text. So again, in our open effects here, I'm gonna scroll down, and towards the bottom under Resolve FX Stylize, we have drop shadow. So I'm gonna click, hold, and drag and drop that onto my text. And you can see it already put a little bit of a shadow there, but if I want to adjust it more, super easy. I'm gonna select my text. Again, come to your inspector, effects, and we have drop shadow right here. Usually I just crank the shadow strength. I crank it all the way up. You can change the drop distance if you want to. If you gotta reset it, just double click one of these guys. You can change the amount of blur. A lot of times I might bring that blur back a little bit, reduce the drop distance, so it kind of looks a little bit more like that. It's kind of my style that I like. You can even change the color of it if you wanted to use something like, I don't know, blue. You can make it blue, you can make it red, you can do whatever you want. I'm gonna change it back to black for your typical classic shadow look. Hit OK. And that's it, it's good to go. Now you can use this on images that you put on your screen, on anything that you put on your screen, even if you dropped on something like an overlay. For example, I have a green check I'm gonna bring down into my timeline right here. Now let's say I just shrink it down, move it down a little bit using my inspector. And let's say I wanna throw a drop shadow on here. I can just grab my drop shadow, drop it on there, and now you can see we've got that same light drop shadow with the default settings. I'm just gonna maybe crank that up a little bit. Maybe I wanna reduce the blur. I can adjust it like this. Maybe you want it floating way above. It's up to you, whatever fits for your video. But drop shadow, you can use it on pretty much anything. It's awesome. I use it all the time. Love me some good drop shadow. Extra little bonus tip right here. You see that little star right there? That's because I marked it as a favorite, so I'll always see it in my favorites right over here. The next built-in effect here that I use all the time that I really like a lot is called the Foreground Wipe, and it's actually a transition. So if we come into our effects library, you want to come to Video Transitions at the top, and if you scroll down under Fusion Transitions, you're going to see Foreground Wipe. So I'm going to click, hold, and drag this down into my timeline, drop it on my two clips, and here's what that Foreground Wipe looks like. And it just adds two nice bars that wipe across the screen, and I just think it's a really nice, simple transition to go from one clip to the next. Now you do have some options. You can make it longer or shorter just by dragging out that transition right there. You can also come up to your inspector under transition. You can change the alignment of it. You can change the softness. For example, if we look on our video clip there, I can make it a little bit softer. When it comes to the shadow there, I can change the border width to be a little bit different. I can change the easing if I want. But the Foreground Wipe is just one of those really cool, simple effects that does a great job, I think, of just transitioning from like one screen to the next. And I use that all the time. While we're talking about transitions, there's a couple more that I use all the time. And I even customized two of them, actually, just to make them exactly what I want and save it as a preset. So if you scroll down a little bit farther in your transitions, we have two that are called Slide Up and Slide Down. And I use those all the time when I'm taking my talking head and sliding it down into a square. So if you look on the screen right here, you can see I'm talking, and then the video slides down to me in a square here. So I'm going to use the Slide Down transition, and you make it a little bit longer here, and here's what that looks like. And likewise, when I'm going from talking head like this, if I make another cut here, and then on this second section, I want it to go back to a full screen, I'll use the Slide Up. So I'll drop that on there, and here's what it looks like to slide up. And it's just really easy. You don't have to keyframe anything. It just does it for you. You drop on your transition and you're good to go. Now, I like these two, and just as a side note here, I did save some custom settings in these two transitions. So if I click on one of them here, and let's say I make it 12 frames, which is what I like to use. So it's about half a second long. I can adjust any of the easing that I want. Then I'm going to select the transition, right-click, and choose Create Transition Preset. And it's going to be able to create a new preset for you that you can use that works just as quick and easy as the default preset here. And the only thing that I changed, if I scroll up in my video transitions here, so you can see it's a slide down to 12 frames and a slide up at 12 frames. Now all I have to do, grab those presets, drag them, drop them on my timeline, and I'm good to go. Continuing along with transitions, another two that I like to use a lot is the push in transition, because this will just bring something on the screen for you and you don't have to create keyframes. You don't have to do anything. It's just going to do it for you. It's quick, it's easy, and it's not very hard for your machine to run and do in the background when you drop it on your clip. So in your transitions, if you scroll up, you're going to see we have the push right here. So you can click, hold, drag, and drop that down onto your clip. Set the alignment how you want, change the length how you want, and here's what that looks like. So if you just want to bring something in onto the screen, it could be a video clip, it could be a title, it could be anything that you want, an image or something that's just taking up a small section of the screen. You can just have it push right in. You don't have to keyframe anything. It just does it really quick and easy, and the push transition is a great tool for that. Now you can also make some fine-tune adjustments. If you clicked on the transition there, you can select which way it's going to push. You can adjust a border if you wanted a border on there. You can see we make it a little thicker. You can make it a color if you want. You can feather it, so that's just kind of a blurred border. We can add in some motion blur, and you can change the easing. So if we just do an in and out, let it render up for a second, here's what that looks like. A really nice and quick way to just kind of bring something on screen. The next built-in effect here is called an adjustment clip. And if you don't know what an adjustment clip is, you're in for a treat. Check it out. In DaVinci Resolve, we've got our effects library here. So I'm going to come down to the effects tab right here. And if I scroll to the top, we have an adjustment clip. So what I'm going to do is drag the adjustment clip down onto my timeline, and I'm going to put it on top of the clips that I want to effect. So let's say in this case, I want to effect this particular clip right here. I can stretch it out, make it as long as I want. Now, anything that I change on this adjustment clip is going to affect everything below it. So I don't have to adjust the original clip. I can adjust the adjustment clip here, and that's going to follow and carry through to every video track that's below that. So you got to be kind of careful on how you're using it too, because everything below it is going to get affected. But you can change anything. Let's say I wanted to change the zoom. Maybe I want to zoom in on this person that's water skiing a little bit. Gonna get it there. And then let's say, well, okay, I'm not sure if I like that. Let's see what it looks like without it. Well, I can just move the adjustment clip off and it goes away. I can also do things like color grade on this adjustment clip. I can drop effects onto this color clip. If I wanted to blur this, for example, I could grab my lens blur, drop it on there, and boom, now we have a blurred image there. But if I don't want it and I decide I don't want to use it, I can just move my adjustment clip and everything goes back to exactly how it was. So you can do a ton of stuff with an adjustment clip here. You can even add in keyframes to make a little animation. And then if you don't like it, you can either just disable the clip by pressing the letter D, or you can delete it, you can move it, you can do whatever you want. But adjustment clips come in really handy for a ton of different things, because let's say you come up with some good settings on there and maybe you want to use those settings somewhere else. I can just use my Option or Alt key, click, hold, and drag it, and boom, I've got a copy of it. And just to show you one way that I use adjustment clips, if I come into my power bins here, I actually have a talking head zoom. So if we were working on a video where I've got some talking head, like right here, and I wanted to zoom in, I don't want to keyframe that and have to do that every time. So I created an adjustment clip and I was able to save it, and that adjustment clip has some keyframes on it. So if I just drop it into my timeline, this is what my adjustment clip does, and I have it called Talking Head Zoom because that's what it's doing. Here's what it looks like. Start out regular, and once it hits the clip, boom, 2 keyframes, zooms in, I'll do my talking, and then at the end, it's gonna zoom out. Really quick and really easy, and I can put this anywhere. If anywhere I want to copy this, I can just drag it around, make copies. I can change the length of it. If I need to move any of the keyframes, it's super easy. I can just select the particular clip. And now in DaVinci Resolve 20, you can go ahead and open up your keyframes panel here. And let's say I needed to move all these in. I can select them, drag them over, and then the keyframes are in whatever spot that I need them to be in. So really handy to use adjustment clips. I mean, they can be used for so many different things. So if you're not familiar with them, I suggest you get familiar with them and start using them, because it's going to save you a lot of time, and they're just really a great tool here in DaVinci Resolve. The next effect that I like to use all the time is a color generator. And there's a ton of different reasons why you might want to use this, but check this out. Let's go find the color generator. So I'm going to just close my keyframes, close my media pool, open back up my effects, and we're going to come to the generators section right here. Now in generators, we have a solid color. So I'm just going to click, hold, and drag that down onto my timeline. And for just example's sake, I'm going to put it underneath this clip right here. So now what I can do with this clip is change my background. I can make it whatever color I want. If I select the color generator here, come up to my inspector, you can see I can just pick whatever color I want. You know, you can make it blue, yellow, whatever you want to do, you can make it that color. So let's just pick yellow, for example. I'm going to click OK. So now, yeah, I do have the whole background yellow, but maybe it's a little too much. Well, if I came into settings here, came down to composite, I can always drop back the opacity, right? And one reason why I really like this, because it allows you to easily highlight something on the screen. So I could say drop the opacity there, and let's say I wanted to highlight, I don't know, this section of the timeline, for example. All I have to do is come to crop. I can crop the top down, crop the right, crop the left, and now my timeline is highlighted. And if I just blend in or fade in this particular clip, I can always change the length to whatever I want. Here's what it looks like. Fades in and fades out. And it's a real easy way to highlight things in your video. You can get more fancy with it and use some of the masks in the color page to help, designate exactly where you want different things to be highlighted or whatever. But it comes in really handy, especially even if you wanted to put some text on the screen and it's just too bright. You need to dull down the color behind the text a little bit. You can always come in here, select your solid color. I'm going to change it back to a black. You could do a gray. You could do whatever you want. And then you just fade it to however much that you want it to be, active, or how much opacity you want it to have, right? So this way, your text will appear up a little bit clearer in your video. So love the solid color. Use that all the time. Now it's time to grab your headphones, because we've got some built-in audio presets that I use all the time, and I want to show you what they are. The first one is going to be the Multiband Compressor. Now, I love this because I'll go through and edit my audio, and the Multiband Compressor just helps bring back a little bit of life once you EQ and do some other things to your audio. So I'm going to use it on my dialogue right here. Now, there's different ways we can add it in. You can jump in the Fairlight. You can do it right here in the Edit tab. You can do it in the Cut tab. There's different ways that you can do it, but let me just show you how we add it onto one specific clip or to the entire track right here in the edit page. So in my effects library, I'm going to come down to my audio effects here. And down here, I've got my multi-band compressor. Now, if I want it on just one particular clip, I can drag and drop it on the clip. If I want it on the entire track, I'm going to drop it right over here and it's going to put it on the entire track. So let's actually go and put it on the track. I'm going to let go. And here it is. It's going to pop right up for us. Now, what a multiband compressor does is it adds compression to different frequency ranges. So by default in here, we have 4 different frequency ranges, and you can leave it at the default settings if you want. But let's just say we want to play through it, turn it on and turn it off and see what it's doing. So I'll play through it off and then I'll turn it on and show you how it works a little bit. I want it to stop right there. And we've got all this. Now we could, like I said in the beginning of the video, so you can see it's compressing a little bit of this frequency range right here. But let's say I want to bring back the low end a little bit. I like to make some minor adjustments here. I might bring this up to, say, I don't know, somewhere around there. I'm going to bring the low one up to about 120. And then the high one I'm going to bring down a little bit, maybe around 3,200-ish. So let's play through, and now I can boost or reduce any of these 4 different ranges just to scope the sound a little bit better. So for example, if I wanted to bring up the low ends a little bit, in this section, band 2 right here, I'm going to boost that up a little bit using the gain knob. So check it out. And we've got all this. Now we could, like I said in the beginning of the video, make a cut, add transitions, fades, all that kind of stuff. But that takes time. And we've got all this. Now we could, like I said in the beginning of the video, make a cut, add transitions, fades, all that kind of stuff. But that takes time, right? I want it to stop right there. And we've got all this. Now we could, like I said in the beginning of the video, make a cut, add transitions, fades, all that kind of stuff. But that takes time. So we made a few adjustments here. Here's a quick little before and after. And we've got all this. Now we could, like I said in the beginning of the video, make a cut, add transitions, fades, all that kind of stuff. All right, so can you hear that? It just makes it sound a little bit fuller. So multiband compressor, I've got more videos on that if you want a little more in-depth knowledge on how that works and how to use it. But I use that all the time. It's a really great tool. And that leads us to the next audio plugin that I use on all of my dialogue, and that is going to be a DSER. So let's close down our multiband compressor here. And if we just come back into our audio effects here, we have our DSER. I'm going to drag and drop that on my track. Now what the DSER does is it just removes some of those harsh S sounds or sh sounds in your dialogue. Really easy to use. Just throw it on your track. And then you do have some presets in here, right? So I'll usually start with the male ESS. Now this is a little much for what I like to use, so I actually change it to this option. I narrow down my area that's affected there, and then I reduce it a little bit because it's just a little much. So if I were to play through this and I watch my meters over here, check out the video, it's live on my channel. But I have a music track right here in my timeline. We can see it is doing a little bit, right? And if we need to adjust our frequency, you can come up here and just grab it, or you can use the frequency slider right here. You can change the reaction time if you need to, and you're just going to watch that reduction meter to make sure it's catching or reducing some of those harsh S sounds. You can also watch your output meter there to make sure your levels are in good shape. Because at the end of my videos, I like to add in some music, same as in the beginning of the videos. But when we look at the track I dropped in, it's too long, right? I want it to stop. Now, if you do it too much, it's going to sound like you got a lisp like that. So you got to be careful. You don't want to do it too much. But it's a great tool. Love the DSER there. I use it all the time. And now, as promised, I've got 2 bonus effects here for you that I use all the time. One of them's in Resolve 20, and I think it's a studio-only feature. If it's not, I'll put it on the screen when I get to it. But let's jump in here and let me show you these cool effects that I use all the time. First one, super easy. If you want to do a zoom in, a slow zoom in to your clip, you're going to want to use dynamic zoom. It's just so easy, no keyframes necessary. And here's how you find it. I'm going to select my clip. I'm going to make a cut, or however long I want the zoom to be on my clip. I might want to make a cut there. If you wanted to zoom the entire clip, that's fine. You don't have to make any cuts. But I'm going to select the clip, open up my inspector, and then come down to dynamic zoom. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn that on. So now what it's going to do is either zoom in or zoom out. And it's going to do it automatically for you. So here's what it looks like. Default settings, not changing anything. Does a slow zoom out. If I wanted to zoom in instead, I can hit swap. And now it's going to zoom in. And it's very subtle. If I want to change the easing, I can ease in and ease out. And if I want to change how much it's zooming, really easy. If I come to this little icon right here, click the drop down, go to dynamic zoom. Now we're going to see the green box tells us where is the zoom starting, and the red box here says where is it ending. So if I wanted it to zoom a lot, let's say we want to zoom right into this guy's face right there, I can then turn it off by clicking that again, and here's what that looks like. And it's going to zoom in, and it'll zoom in the entire length of the clip. And that's why I'm saying if you only want it to zoom in for so long, then you want to make your clip a little bit shorter, or just make a cut. You don't have to shorten the clip, but just make a cut like that. And now it's going to zoom in a whole lot quicker right into this dude's face. And if this one I didn't want it to zoom, I could just go ahead and turn off the dynamic zoom, zoom in, boom, pops back out, and I leave it. It's good to go. Dynamic zoom is awesome. You can use it on pretty much anything. It does a great job, really quick and easy, no keyframes. Click the button, change the size of those windows to whatever you want it to be, and you're good to go. You've got a nice zoom in, zoom out. I use that all the time on my videos, especially when I'm starting a video, I'll zoom out, camera zoom out or zoom into my face or something like that. And last but far from the least, new effect here that I use all the time since it came out here in version 20 is the AI music editor, aka Adobe Premiere Remix if you're from Premiere World. I never used Premiere World, but everybody wanted this tool and now we've got it. Super good. If you had beta 3, it didn't work, by the way, but now it works. And I think it's studio only. If it's not, like I said, I'll just put it on the screen here. But we're going to select our music clip. And then if I want to change the length of it to whatever I want it to be, I'm going to come to my inspector, the audio section, AI music editor, and I like to just turn on live trim here. And then I'm just going to grab the end, make sure you got the little icon right there. And I'm going to bring it into whatever I want it to be. Resolve is going to think and do its thing, and boom, I've got an edited song. I don't have to make any cuts. It's just going to set everything up for me. It's going to end the song in a natural way, kind of like the song originally ends. It's going to make it make sense, and this is what it looks like when you're done. So we see these little squiggles on the clip here. Let me zoom in, and that is where the AI just did its work to make cuts and blend the music back together. It's pretty seamless. Here's what it sounds like. I mean, you can't tell there's a cut there and anything was put together. You would never know, especially if it's a video going on too. You would have no idea and you would never know. And as just an amazing extra tip here, when you have vocals in your music track, I tested it out and it works great there too, right? Now, it doesn't make new vocals or anything. It just makes the cuts on the song where it makes sense and the vocals go together. From my tests, it seems to work pretty good. Now, I can't guarantee it's going to work great on every song with vocals, but here's an example. Let me just show you what it looks like. So if we just come in here, play a little bit of this is what it sounds like.
The lightning shows my weakness, the thunder knows my secrets, the storm sends the reckless.
Okay, so you can see he's singing there, this guy's singing. I want to shorten it up. It's too long for my video. Again, select your clip. I'm going to come up to my inspector, AI music editor, live trim. I'm just going to grab the end and I'm going to bring it right back to where I've got my playhead. It's just a random spot I stopped. Didn't look for any specific place to stop the song based on the lyrics or anything like that. Resolve's going to do its thing, and then I'm going to show you what it sounds like. All right, so DaVinci Resolve has figured it out, and if I take a look at my clip here, you can see where it made those cuts. Let's just zoom in on the song here, and let's just play it over top of where it's made the cuts, which is, again, those zigzag lines. Here's what it sounds like. Okay, pretty seamless there. There's no dialogue or no vocals. So here's the part with the vocals.
Let the rain come down.
Are you kidding me? It all goes right together. Are you kidding me? And then it just is able to end the song out the way the song actually ends. That, my friends, is ridiculous. I mean, that's pretty amazing, I have to say so. So in my test, it works pretty good. Is it gonna work all the time? I don't know, but I'm gonna keep trying it because that's ridiculous and pretty cool too. So there you have 10 free effects that I use in pretty much all my videos right there, built into DaVinci Resolve. They're gonna do a great job for you. And if you want more tips and tricks in DaVinci Resolve, you might wanna check out this video up over here because that's gonna help you out too. My name's Jay Yudlowski. I love helping you guys and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.